Yeah, I'm excited for the game. This matchup is intriguing because there's a lot of unknown, and that's what I've heard from people around Minnesota is, Matt Rule, brand new coordinators, different personnel. What are the schemes going to look like? You can prepare. It's already the unknown of the first game, but with all those other elements at play, primetime game, kicking off the season, sold out crowd should be electric.
So I know you crunch these numbers and do a great job of combining the numbers crunch on the metrics, the advanced metrics, with then studying the game film and putting some nuance to that. So when you look at this Nebraska team, before you tell us about Minnesota, I'm curious to get your take because Greg and I talk Nebraska football here every week, and he's inundated with Nebraska football every day. So we've got our certain takes on where they're strong and where they need improvement. But what are some of your first takeaways from Nebraska?
Well, I'm excited to see their defensive scheme. I wrote a piece on the website today for subscribers talking about Tony White and how that entire scheme has so much versatility where you can be in a 3 down front and then you're kicking the jack down and you've got a 4-man front. And then you're maybe showing a 4-man front and going into a bear front with 2 3 techs, a nose, and then you got the 2 rush ends. So you have to have pieces in your defense that are versatile. And I look at their secondary with Hartzog, Newsome at cornerback, both solid players. Looking at the personnel on defense, I felt like they had pretty good speed. Should be a fast defense in the back end. And I think that's what you need to run this type of defensive scheme. Got to have very good blitzing linebackers. It looked like that was the case when I was watching film as well. Robinson, I'm excited about him too. I think he's going to do really well in this defensive scheme because there's a lot of D-line movement, just attacking gaps and doing a lot of creative things defensively. So I guess I'm just fascinated to see the defense. And then on offense with Satterfield, the one thing that I took note of is how often he ran screen passes at South Carolina. They were like a 90th plus percentile screen team. They average a ton of yards after the catch. They were 90th plus percentile on that. So you see, based on what they did last year at South Carolina, there's a lot of screen games. So I'm interested in that and how they incorporate the tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, all that stuff together into the passing game, using that as an extension of what they do, because I thought Satterfield did a nice job of creating space in the passing game at South Carolina. So I look forward to the schemes and seeing how the personnel all fits together, because I think Matt Rule was a great hire for Nebraska. Just give this thing a little time, and I guess I'm curious how quick he can get it off the ground. I think it all starts with improving the physicality up front on both sides of the ball from my perspective.
Greg, as this thing gets closer, what interests you the most as we get within 48 hours of kickoff?
Well, yeah, I want to see it all come together. Obviously, since we hear from the coaches and don't get to see a whole lot ourselves, but obviously, with the defensive scheme with a 3-3-5, not a lot of people are used to playing against something like that. And, like Daniel was talking about, I've seen reports on PJ Fleck worried about, the way his offense is going to try to combat that 3-3-5 defense that Nebraska has implemented. And, there's, a lot of big deals like, the black shirts were handed out here the other day. And, 9 of those black shirts are guys that have the single digits that Matt Rule hands out as well. And, that defense is proud and Tony White is really confident. And then on the offensive side, there's a few question marks around, but, obviously we'll start with the tight end group that, like I said, that Avery Gilbert really wasn't a factor in there anyway going into Thursday night. with Thomas Fedoni and Nate Borkacher and Narian Bonner and Kim Lindenhart. I mean, there's a lot of guys they're going to use. And I think the one thing you didn't bring up, Daniel, was that the implementation of the fullback in the offense.
For sure.
You're going to have a lot of guys there that are tight end / fullbacks getting very involved in the game. And then a really, really good running back room. Guys that, you already know, Gabe Irvins and the Anthony Grants and Ramir Johnson, and the list keeps going on and on. They're going to get a lot. They're going to get involved a lot. And with Jeff Sims starting, nobody's really seen Jeff Sims and the offensive scheme that they're going to play right now, and they're going to utilize, like you were talking about the screen game. Obviously, they're going to utilize that. Just like Coach Rule talked about today, is that Ramir Johnson's a guy that he wants to have the ball in his hands. He's a home run hitter. Him and Emmett Johnson. That's those two guys are your kickoff returners now too. News out of the day, it was Ramir Johnson and Emmett Johnson are going to be the duo back there for kickoff returns, and they're both going to play at the running back spot, and you never know what else. So. I think, Minnesota right now, I think, is guessing what they're going to see from Nebraska, because the rest of us are guessing what they're going to see. But I'm just excited to see it come down here, on Thursday.